Hi. First, I wanted to talk about why I chose the Raven. It was between the Raven and a dying mall in my community, Birchwood Mall, which, because of so many businesses around it opening and succeeding, has, like I said, died out like many malls today. However, the Raven, despite many successful restaurants opening around it, has continued to blossom. According to TripAdvisor, now there's 114 restaurants in Port Huron. And really, I feel like this trend started with the Raven. It was the first successful, popular restaurant that I know of that opened on Main Street. It revitalized Main Street. It brought people back to Main Street and it has made it what it is now today, which is successful and bustling little part of our town. Even opened sometime in 2000 by the original owner, Gerald Edson, and it quickly became a community hub. It's certainly the first place that I ever went where I felt like I was at home. And that's probably because the place is covered in books, but you'll see that in the next slide. This is what you see as soon as you walk in the door. Business cards from everyone on the street, in Port Huron, around Port Huron, posters about current events occurring, just whether it's hockey, whether it's theater, whether it's art, whether it's music, anything and everything, it gets posted on Ravens bulletin boards. They are a essential place to find information about what's going on in the community. And just from that, it works as a massive community hub. So it was important for them, the original owner and the current owner, to continue to keep the building restored with the original woodwork, the original brickwork, and many vintage, beautiful pieces that have changed over the years. As you can see, first off, it's actually 3 stories. The third story is to a much larger parking lot, but you have to walk up a flight of stairs. So people who are unable to do that, there's parking on the street outside of it so that they can be included as well. Um, you do need a car to get there, but we also have a very active bus route in our city and in our townships where you can call the bus, they'll come pick you up and take you wherever you want to go. So anyone, no matter their class, really can enjoy the Raven if they choose to. It is a beautiful place. As you can see, all of the tables have historical figures on them, which I've always enjoyed. And there are books everywhere, which anyone is welcome to grab, read, enjoy for as long as they'd like. They don't care about turnover at this restaurant. They care about their customers enjoying themselves. As far as the demographics of the customers, I was there on a Monday after one of the coldest weekends and worst snowstorms that we've had, and yet I still saw quite a range of people at the restaurant. I saw a kind of loud, raucous group at the counter that was there before I came and was still there after I left. I saw a man alone sitting next to that table reading somehow, and an older couple who did seem a little annoyed by how loud they were getting by the bar. There was also a younger couple who sat upstairs, and they uh, only stayed for maybe about an hour. There was also, it seemed like two middle-aged women who came and stayed for quite a while to talk. And then a large party of girls younger than myself, probably in their 20s, came and sat on the couches that are available at the Raven, and were there for at least 2 hours, just talking, interacting with each other, seeming to have a very good time. I sat on the second floor balcony that overlooks the first floor. so that I could get the best view possible of all of the patrons while I was there. There's always this fun old art and covers of books and magazines that are on the tabletops that are very interesting to look at while you're having your meal. And there's always books available at your feet because they're always trying to get you to read something if you want to. But while I was there, everyone was pretty much dressed the same. They were dressed for freezing cold weather. There was predominantly white, I would say, but possibly some minorities also. The class range, I could not tell personally, and the gender range was definitely more female at the time, but a lot of males too. It was almost 50-50 really by the end of the night. These are some of the hardest and most popular seats to get at the Raven. They are their comfy couches, which are almost always occupied. And I I've only gotten to sit in them, I think, twice, and I used to go there quite often. Um, they are where the group of young girls were sitting for most of the night. So I wasn't able to get a great picture of it myself and took one from the website. I definitely do think that the time of day and the time of year affects who is at the Raven. I think there's definitely more people going to work, getting their coffee, because it's mainly a coffee shop. That's what it started as in the morning. And in the afternoon, then you're getting more of a lunch crowd, maybe a dating crowd. Later in the afternoon, you're getting a lot of students studying, reading. Nobody ever bothers you. You can go there and get your homework done. It's wonderful. And then they also got their liquor license a few years ago. So now, as it gets later in the evening, it definitely probably gets some rowdier people around. But because of the norms that are already in place, the informal social norms that are in place, the bartenders and chefs, they can handle people really well. They can get them out, keep them safe, and keep the customers feeling comfortable and not having their time interrupted. Though I believe the time of year does affect the kind of customers that are coming in, there's always an air of love and inclusivity. I didn't know this, but I learned from talking with a waiter that during hockey tournaments and other sports tournaments, a lot of the players and their families would go to the Raven. Just like after theater events, a lot of the theater goers will go to the Raven. It's a very popular destination for tourists, so it's a very popular destination for people of all classes. Uh, and it has such a laid back feeling and such good food that it definitely is a popular choice to return to when you're coming back to the city. I know from personal experience and things that I've read that the Raven always seems to try to include everybody somehow, some way. I know that one Valentine's Day they offered free marriages. They do reading outreach for children. They always are looking for local talent, artists of any kind, musicians especially, and they also want to make sure that the LGBTQ community has a place to be seen and heard. They do drag shows at times, drag bingo, which is fun. And there was for a time that they would actually open after hours on either Friday or Saturday for a few hours to just be an LGBTQ plus um, location where people could gather. They also make sure to try to help these local artists any way they can. This picture I included because it really shows at times how much art they have on the walls, and all the art on the walls are from local artists. They're all for sale. You can buy the pieces or you can contact the artist if you're interested in their work. And it's a wonderful opportunity for a lot of people. They've begun also selling handmade charms and knickknacks and that sort of thing for local artists. So that's always a great little extra buy that you can get when you're leaving. Aside from being known as the coffee house with all the books based on Edgar Allan Poe the Raven, inspired by anyway, the other thing they were known for from the very beginning was music. They love looking for local talent, bringing them in, giving them a chance. They have a very small stage that you have to climb up a little tiny ladder to get to. It looks scary. I'm not sure how they get their equipment up there, to be completely honest, but they give great live shows. It's always a wonderful experience when you get to go there and hear a new musician. They also have been doing spoken word poetry, I believe, from at least that's what I've heard. But they're always looking for new ways to use their venue to help bring out artists in the community. As I mentioned in a previous slide, I did interview a waiter while I was there because I didn't feel like I got to see as many patrons as there usually would be at the restaurant. His name was Kyle. He's been working there for, I think he said 6 or 7 months. But still, just from his time there so far, he said that he really saw that there was no class difference there. He saw people of every class there. And he also said that though they have the steady regulars that tend to be more artistic and musicians, that sort, and leaning that way because they really do try to give local artists a platform at this location. They also have people coming in from all other sorts of events, like I mentioned before, like the hockey. So they'll get athletes, and so they really see all kinds of different people from all different trades. He's been surprised by the mix of people he's seen, and I know that yeah, it's happened to me once personally, and I know it's happened to some friends before in the past, but because the place is so calming and so cozy and you never want to leave, you tend to just kind of stay and chill and drink some tea. And then you start talking to your neighbors and you strike up a conversation and you'll become friends with a complete stranger at the restaurant. And I don't know any other restaurant where that happens on a regular basis. He says that he's actually seen that happen quite often. So I thought that was a very interesting thing. I knew that that had happened to me, but I did not know that that happened on a regular basis there. So when I have to say about give the Raven a place character, it's a soulful, artistic, cozy, calm place to be. Um, it almost makes you feel like home when you're there. No one's rushing you out the door. They don't care if you just come in and order one tea bag and just keep getting hot water. They'll let you sit there all day, and nobody gives you any problems about it. So it doesn't matter how much money you have, you can go there and still have a good time and enjoy the venue. I want to make two last notes. One is that Sadat Hussein is the current owner and has been for quite a while of the Raven, and he's maintained it as the third best restaurant in Port Huron, and now there's 114 of them. And the Raven certainly helped trigger the boom of restaurants on Main Street and around Main Street. So they're definitely still going and checking out if you're ever in the area. And the other thing was the idea of ideology, and possibly that making some people uncomfortable in the space. Sometimes just being so dedicated to making a place inclusive for everyone, having things like movie nights, game nights, or all kinds of nights dedicated to all different kinds of interests. Um, and then, of course, dedication to the LGBTQ plus community. Uh, it definitely in the arts, of course, the arts. Sadat himself is also a musician. So some people may find that to all be leaning very liberal and may be uncomfortable by that. And they may read into that a specific ideology that they don't agree with. Um, However, you can't argue with how good the food is or the coffee, in my opinion. Thank you.